mommy. This is a lesson from Vistas. We can learn this lesson. This is a simplest one and also you can easily understand. It's like a story format only. That's why I prefer this lesson. Just we can see that. He is the author of this lesson, John Updike. His name is John Updike. Let's see about the author, John Hoyer Updike, March 18, 1932, January 27, 2009. So he was born on 18th March 1932 and he died on 27th January 2009. He was an American novelist, poet, short story writer, art critic and literary critic. He was a novelist, poet, short story writer and one who writes a criticism on art and also literature. One of only 3 writers to win the Pulitzer Prize for fiction more than once. Only 3 poets have got the Pulitzer Prize, the famous prize award for the fiction for more than once. More than one time he has got the Pulitzer Prize for the fiction. You know the difference between fiction and non-fiction stories, students? Fiction means one who writes with imagination, fixing something. Non-fiction means we can't fix anything. That's a real story. Here, Updike published more than 20 novels. Novels means very big stories. More than a dozen short story collections. Dozen means you know that, right? Set up 12. So more than a dozen short story collections he has written, as well as poetry, poems he has written, art and literary criticism and children's books during his career. So while he was working somewhere itself, he has completed all these things. This is the famous thing about the author. Let's come to the introduction part of the story. See here, little children love to hear stories from their parents at bedtime. So earlier, if you see, the people were living in a joint family. So the grandparents will be sitting simply at home while mother was at kitchen work and father was at office work. So the grandparents used to give a lot of stories. That may be moral stories or some interesting stories they'll give. So the children will be very much eager to listen to the stories because they didn't have any other entertainment because television was not there and so now what we have, the social media was not present at the time. So they were fond of listening to the stories of their grandparents. So every night the grandparents will be with the new moral stories. Through that the children learnt some morality also. They had learnt some good behaviors also. They learnt some manners. But nowadays there is no time because the parents are very busy with their schedule and the children are very busy with their mobile phones or their television and they are always working with the social media. So somehow we can say something is affecting their future also. So such stories are mostly fables and have no logic behind them. So there is no possibility to happen like this. But some moral will be there. Many a time parents make up stories out of their own head. Most of the times the grandparents are the parents who are telling stories. They'll bind the stories on their own. Little children take them as literary true. The small children will not understand whether the mother has created or grandmother has created on her own or something real what has happened she is telling. So they will not be able to judge it. They will not be able to identify it. So they will trust it. But as a child grows up, he becomes inquisitive. He begins to ask many questions. He wants to know why and how certain things happen. While a child is getting growing and growing, it will make a lot of questions. It will be so curious to ask more questions. How it's happened, why it's happened, what is the logic behind it. So everything child will raise a lot of questions. The parents will answer and the grandmothers or grandparents will give the answer. He wants to know why and how certain things happen. He wants to know the reason behind things. Sometimes parents take this questioning of the child as an affront. They try to discourage it. Sometimes the parents or grandparents are feeling that the child is asking more questions and it's unnecessary. So they are discouraging the nature. Actually, the child has to be allowed to raise more questions. Then only their intelligence will also be developed. But as we are not able to give the answers for the children's queries, we are discouraging them. We are not willing to give any answer for them. That's the thing behind this. They want the child to accept as true whatever is said to him. Okay, so that's what. They are thinking of whatever we say the child should accept. Okay, they should not ask any question. They should listen everything and they should trust it's true. That's what. Earlier, if you see the traditional way of teaching, the teacher will monotonously teaching and the child will not be given any chance to raise any question. But nowadays, if you see, the trend has been changed. Okay, the interaction is there between the teacher and the child. The same was there in the families also. The children were suppressed not to give any question, not to ask anything apart from the ability of their parents. So immediately they will be discouraged. So this is what happening. In such an attitude desirable? Is it good? The story poses this very question. Okay, the story says about a child who raises a lot of questions. A father tells his child a story out of his head. Here, a father is mentioned. This father, Jack, he is telling a lot of stories. He binds all those things on his wall. The child interrupts him a number of times. Okay, the child, whenever he says story, the child will be with a lot of queries and she'll immediately interrupt it and she'll say all those things and the father has to give the clarification to her. Otherwise, she'll never allow it to continue her father. The child interrupts him a number of times. She raises questions whenever she feels that the story is wrong. The father feels himself caught in an ugly middle position. So whenever the father is not able to give any solution for her queries, he feels that he is in an ugly position. He does not know whether he should accept the child's version or stick to his own. Thus the story raises a moral issue and leaves it to the reader to resolve it. So whenever a father is not able to give the answer, actually the father wants what he thinks is right, he has to imbibe on the child also. But the child is not ready to accept all those things what father says. So what is it? Immediately father will be in a dilemma whether we have to give the clearance or whether we can leave it like this. So in this place, the author gives a place for the readers to give the solution for their answers, queries of the small child. See children, the characters of the story. Joan, that's a small girl, okay, a 4-year-old girl, lovingly called as Jo. Her father used to call her as Jo only. In our lesson also it has been given as Jo. Jack, father of Joan. He is a person who narrates a story, who binds a story on his own. Then Claire. Claire is wife of Jack and mother of Joan. Skunk, a baby creature with a bad smell. Okay, a skunk is an animal. It's a creature with bad smell. Mother skunk, the mother of this baby skunk. That is also a skunk animal. Owl, a wise creature that solves the problems. In all the stories, he'll bring the owl as a wise one who gives the solution for the problems. Wizard, a magician who solves the problem at last. Then one more, Bobby, one boy is there. That's a brother of Ajo. Then her mother is carrying the third baby. Okay, so these are the characters we see in this story. students, I'll give you the just introduction of the story. Okay. So listen here. So his father, Joe's father, Jack, wants to give some stories to Jack. So he started giving stories while she was 2 years old. Now she is 4 years old. Almost for 2 years he was continuing telling stories out of his head. He didn't learn anywhere. He didn't read anywhere and say. He'll create the stories on his own. But all his stories will be of a small creature like fish, squirrel, chipmunk. Okay, so he'll say the stories like fish, chipmunk, squirrel. Likewise only he'll create the stories. In all the stories, he'll give the animal as Roger squirrel, Roger fish, Roger chipmunk. So he'll add Roger everywhere. In all the stories, these animals will have a problem. So immediately they'll go to an owl. Okay, because here he shows that animal owl as a very intelligent one. So they'll all go to the owl. And next, owl will give the solution to go to the wizard. You know who is a wizard? A witch who is practicing as a magician also. So they all will go to a witch. Okay. So that witch will give the solution for their problem. So likewise only he'll create all those stories. Okay. Here also he has to say a story. At the time, Joe gives a suggestion about what she needs a story. Listen here. So, she wants a story about a skunk. Because in her nursery school, she was told about skunk. So, it kindled her curiosity to hear the story about a skunk. So, this time, she leaves a suggestion about what she wants to hear the story. So, her father was in a position to give the story about Roger's skunk. Skunk is an animal. He used to add Roger as the name of the animals, right? So, he has added Roger in front of skunk. So, he wants to give the story about Roger's skunk. So, this is the animal. Roger skunk is the animal which smells very bad. So, because of that, the other animal hated it. Okay, they will not allow him to be mingling with the other animals because it smells very bad, very bad. So they will not allow the Roger skunk to play with him, and the Roger skunk was neglected from the society. So he worried a lot, but this Roger skunk worried a lot, and at last he wanted to find a solution. His story, who is the intelligent one? The owl is the intelligent one. Okay. So, the Roger skunk wants to meet the owl. Okay. So, he has gone to the owl for the solution. The owl directed it to go and meet the wizard. Okay. To go and meet the wizard because wizard can solve your problem. So, that it has directed the Roger skunk to go meet the wizard. So the Roger skunk also has gone to the wizard. Now Roger skunk went to the wizard and narrated all his problem what he is facing now. So his bad smell and other animals are rejecting it. All those things it narrated. Okay. So wizard said, okay, it's very easy. What smell do you want? Okay. To which smell I have to change you? So, it's very clearly understandable. Your smell is very bad. So, what smell do you like? Now, the Roger skunk says, I need the smell of rose. Okay, what I need? I need the smell of rose. Rose is the pleasant smell, right? Okay, so, immediately, the wizard has changed its smell into rose. See here, the wizard has a wand. Magic stick is known as wand in his hand. Okay. So with this magic stick, he has changed his smell into beautiful rose smell. Now Roger skunk is very happy because it smells so good, and at last cost? The wizard asked for 7 pennies. Penny means it's a British bronze coin, 1/100th of the dollar. Pound, okay. 1/100th of the pound. 100 pennies make 1 pound, okay. Listen here, ma. Here, this is the penny, okay. As we have coin, they have penny, okay. 100 pennies make 1 pound. So that you have to remember. It asked for 7 pennies, but actually the Roger skunk had only 4 pennies, okay. 4 pennies, 3 pennies are lacking now. So it started crying because as sufficient amount is not there with the skunk, sometimes the wizard may change the smell back to the old smell, okay. So it started crying. But now the wizard himself gives a solution. You go in the street, there is a well. Okay, there is a well. Near this well, you will find 3 more pennies. You collect them and bring to me. Likewise, the wizard has given the solution. So, the Roger skunk was very happy and it went in the street and it found the magic well, and nearby that 3 pennies were also there. So, he collected them and handed over to wizard. Now, he is very happy. Roger skunk is very happy. And it went to the place where the animals rejected it. Now all the animals came together and they all played with him. So he was very happy to play with the other animals. And it was playing throughout the day. And while it got dark, okay, during night, all the animals went home. So Roger skunk also came home. At the time, he thought their mother will be very happy of seeing its pleasant smell. But now the mother is looking contradictory to the view of the baby Roger skunk. Okay. So she asked, who changed your smell? And it narrated all the story. I went to the owl and magician changed my color. Smell everything. But even then, the mother was not able to accept it. Immediately it took the Roger skunk, baby Roger skunk, and went to the wizard with this umbrella. Okay. So it hit on the head of wizard and asked, who told you to change the smell of my baby? And it compelled the wizard to change back to its old smell also. And the baby skunk was telling again and again, but the mother was not convinced at all. So at last it came back. Likewise, the story was over. So Joe thought, okay, somehow while it got the pleasant smell itself, the story would have got over. But the father stretched to get back its old smell. But the small child doesn't like all these things. She was asking again and again, why the mother hit the wizard? The wizard should hit the mother. And it should narrate, oh, your baby was rejected from the society. Other animals all rejected it. Likewise, she wanted to say. But the father didn't say that at all. He wanted to convey what the mother likes, the baby also likes. As the mother wishes, the baby abides it. So that's what he wanted to give the moral to the child. But the child was not ready to accept it. So the child leaves a command to the father. Tomorrow I have to say the story. At the time, should say that wizard should hit on the skunk's mother and it should give back the rose smell to the skunk. Likewise, I have to complete. So this is the story of the lesson. So we should be very thorough. So here in all the stories, he is adding a name, Roger. And he tells about the small creatures like chipmunk, squirrel. So this chipmunk and squirrel are looking similar, students. But slight difference is there. See here, this is a squirrel, this is the chipmunk. We would have seen both, okay. In our place, both is available, so we could have seen both. This is the squirrel, this is the chipmunk, okay. So, but that's a family of squirrel only. So, used to give the story about the small creatures only. At last, she herself gave the suggestion that she needed a story about the Roger skunk. So that he has narrated all these stories, and at last he didn't get the smell back, pleasant smell back. Even though it had got the bad smell, the mother says that everyone was together, okay. So other animals also were started playing with the Roger skunk after he got back his old foul smell also. Okay, but even then the child was not ready to accept it. Through this, he wants to give some morals and good manners to the child. But the child was so curious to raise a lot of questions to the father to put him in trouble. So in the next video, we can see with the lesson. Okay, thank you students.